Hello, hello. Hi there. How's it going? Oh, fuck. I know it's wrong instantly. I gotta figure out how to delete that bloatware for real. Cause what the fuck? I swear to God, if it's perfect after this. Close off. Wow. It instantly changed. Crazy. Perfect. We up. We here. We're up. And we're here. Wow. That's what's up. With the 57 months, that's crazy. That's crazy. Thank you for the lurk as well. So I changed the camera up. I just was like, why not? Why not? Looks like we're stable. Yeah. Looks like we're stable. It's been a minute. It's been a minute. It's been how long? I don't know. I don't want to lie. It's been too long. We'll call it that. It's been too long. And basically, I haven't streamed in. It's been 2 weeks. Has it been a full 2 weeks? I guess it has been a full 2 weeks. It's been an eventful 2 weeks. There's been a lot going on with holidays and seeing family here and whatnot. Figuring stuff out with my job. Trying to catch more hours before the end of this month. I'm gonna be very free and probably very online later in the month. I don't have the most hours this month, so I'm trying to make up for it on like the days that I be like I'm supposed to stream. As well as sometimes just making plans, but I feel like a little break is always needed every once in a while. Why not, right? Let's see, is YouTube smooth? YouTube smooth, Twitch is smooth. I think we're killing it. We're killing it. But yeah, honestly, the last 2 weeks I would say have been very eventful. I have gone through quite a bit, I would say. And I am a changed person. No, I'm fucking around. I think I'm gonna turn my mic down just a little bit. How's that? As long as I'm not peeking, I just don't want to peek. All right. Nah, that was peeking. All right, but yeah, it's been an eventful last few weeks, but it's been a really good one. I feel like I've been locking in. I've been doing what I'm supposed to do, and just things have been working out, man. Signs have been everywhere. Mysterious things have been happening. Coincidences are every other couple days now. And ultimately, it's been a really good one. Last Thursday, was that last Thursday? Yeah, not this upcoming Thursday. It was last Thursday. I went to a Pistons game. I had fun. I lost my voice. I went that Thursday, so I didn't end up get to stream because, game. Oh, no. It was Sunday. I was supposed to stream on Sunday. No, I went on Sunday. I lost my voice on Sunday. What did I do Thursday? I don't know what I did Thursday. Obviously, I bullshitted around, but no, it was probably for very important reasons. But yeah, honestly, what can I say? I feel like it's been a while, but I could say I feel really good. A little short break is always, to me, I feel like it's necessary to remain like productive and creative and whatnot. That's not necessarily a reason for the break. I've just been busy and trying to, do things like I met up with my cousin, and we haven't had necessarily the best relationship. We grew up like siblings, right? And I ended up reconnecting with him, and I thought that was really cool. I feel like it was like one of those things that it just healed like my inner child. I feel like just getting to talk and I don't know, man. Getting out the house, getting to talk, getting to hang with some family that I haven't talked to in a long time. Reconnect with people I may have had disagreements with, or people, that we may had whatever. Same shit I'm basically trying to say. Problems, But yeah, I feel like I've had a good one. Ran into some old friends too. So I feel like I'm feeling good. I'm on the tail end of a really high week, and I've been doing what I need to do. Okay, I've been locking in, and my next big journey is to try to like figure out what my next move is, figure out what I'm gonna, do if I'm getting a new job, if I'm gonna add a job to what I'm doing now. But I really want to put focus into streaming a lot more. I feel like I have the ability. And if it's not streaming, it'll be making more content. I don't know what I want to do, but yeah, I've been yapping. Ultimately, I feel like I've been feeling good, and that's kind of like why we still chilling here. So yeah, last time we were playing Roottrees, and Roottrees is a little game I like to call. I don't have nothing sweet to say there. But yeah. What's that? Is that new? This little file box on the floor. I haven't played this game in 2 weeks, so it's gonna be interesting. Games I've been playing off stream. I'm gonna tell you about what's been going on. Shit, I'm not gonna be like, oh yeah, I was MIA, but I'm not gonna tell you what I was doing. No, I'm joking. I've been playing. I've been playing Schedule 1. I told you guys that. I brought this game called Billionaire. I brought Kingsway. It's pretty solid games. I beat No Buster. Really, in reality, how many hours I got? I got 13.5 hours. I probably grinded that out within 2 days. And I just got this game called Diceomancer. Why would I low-key try it? I am in my free time. I love a lot of. I like deck builders, I like roguelikes, and all of the kind of things. And this one, it kind of implements like the dice roll into all of that. So it's like, although I didn't completely beat Slay the Spire, I feel like I got enough hours in it to be like, okay, I know the ins and outs of a good half of this game, right? At least 2 of the characters that I beat the game on, but this is a really interesting one because it's like different dynamics. But anyways, back to Roottree. So last time we were playing, we got 8 people solved, and I think we were trying to figure out who our next person was. Let's see if I can turn this up in my ear so I can hear that good music that you guys are hearing. But yeah, we pretty much got most of the people up top confirmed. I don't remember who we initially thought this was. We thought that this was Elias himself, the OG Elias. But we don't have pictures of Elias yet, and we don't have pictures of somebody who would be Beth. We just have somebody named Mary Beth. What's up, Olivia? How are you? How you been? I hope you've been good. Hope you've been thriving and vibing, because that's what it's all about. I've been pretty good though, so I will hope I can spread some of that positive energy onto you. More just like refreshed, I guess. I don't know. So where do I start? I feel like this is my problem every time we start puzzle games. I take like a little break. I come back and I'm like, shit, I don't know what I did. I do remember, it's not like I forget everything, right? But I don't remember lastly what we were researching into. We obviously got a little bit about not Mary Beth. We got a little bit about Beth and Elias. And we got a little bit about Cicely Sanchez, and we know that Cicely, or we think, we don't have exact proof, but I think Cicely Sanchez is one of the people who thought that they had a relationship with Guy. I don't know if they actually had a child or not, but okay, now I can turn this music down just a little bit. Good, working on some stuff. Wanted to peek in and say hi per usual. I appreciate you. I appreciate the love. It means a lot. Playing something interesting. Always love me a mystery. I feel that. What? Okay, so whoever was here, it has not been married before. It's just a secret affair. But yeah, I always love playing mystery games, man. I can't not play mystery games. Or puzzle games. I don't know anything. There are a couple puzzle games that I feel like they stress me out. What's that one? Start with was it a W? It's not The Watcher. What is it called? The Witness? That shit? That's hard. I still ain't beat it. And I feel like when you play a game and you feel like you gotta look into a tutorial or you gotta look into guide and hints to tell you what to do, then you're not really playing the game. So I just stopped playing shit. I start, you know what I mean? It's like one of those things where it's like a puzzle, but I don't know. I gotta get into it. It's probably, I feel like it's just in the puzzle context of things. Maybe it sort of reminds me of Outer Wilds, where it's like you could do things in any order, but I feel like some puzzles require you to do stuff in some orders and some laws and rules that you have to use solving some of those puzzles. You have to learn in specific orders, or you'll show up to a puzzle that has nothing to do with what you previously learned, and you know. But I guess that's the joy and beauty of it. Maybe one day I will try. I have tried, but again. All right, so what are we going to look up? I've been yapping. I feel like I've been yapping for 10 minutes. Is that a record? Is that a record? Somebody? No. Yes. So I think we're gonna go ahead and lead with the stuff that has the most hints attached to it. So this Piketty, this missing pages. Also, last time we discovered, I do remember a little bit about last time. We had some really good conversations with some people that popped in chat. But we have the ability to search all the periodicals for everything, right? So now that we know that, we got two things. We got this 6 pieces, and we got Piketty. We know Piketty is just one singular like page, and I don't think there's anything much to get on it. But we were looking up Cicely Sanchez, and I think regardless, that could be a good thing to pick up on. So I'm gonna start reading some stuff over again. He said W yapping. I appreciate it. Yeah, I feel like I'm a talker. I like talking. I feel like that's the perfect hobby for somebody who loves talking. I guess I could do podcasting, huh? Anyways, okay, so yes, we learned about Cicely Sanchez before. She had an unreleased book that she wrote about Guy. Thing is, she didn't have the rights to the photos that she had of Guy in her book, and basically the Roottree lawyers took down her book. But essentially, I think she was alluding to the fact that she had some type of affair with Guy Hudson, which, you know, that would have been a big thing because Guy Hudson had a wife, Patricia, and Guy already, clearly has, we have 1-2 confirmed partners. We even have Guy confirmed in this spot. So we know that Guy had at least 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 affairs on his wife. Unfortunate. But we also know that Cicely Sanchez belongs in one of these spots too. So I think that's where we're going to go from. We're going to look more into her, see if she has children. I think that'll be a big one to see if she has 2 or 1 children, if she's previously married. There's also somebody whose spouse we could have a picture of, which is interesting to say the least. But yeah, I think that's where we're going to go into. So we're going to go back to this and we're going to copy Cicely Sanchez, and then we're going to go ahead and utilize the search all feature, because I say why not? I feel like it just prevents us from doing multiple things at the same time. So I believe we read this already, but why not? Let's see. So yeah, we realized that her book got canceled. It was by Guy Hudson, and she didn't have the rights to publish the book. Because of the picture, the issues was pulled from stores, making the subject of some conspiracies and an instant collector's item. Due to the recall, the version found in these archives is incomplete. So I guess I want to, firstly, one thing I'm going to have, I do have a piece of paper I can write on. I don't know I'm trying to look at what I wrote on this paper beforehand. Oh wow, this is an old ass piece of paper. Wow, crazy. What? Wow, I run into a piece of paper with like a whole bunch of jobs I want to do. That's crazy. I don't even want to write on this. This is some legendary stuff right here. Okay, I got something right here. I got a little notepad. that also has something on it. Crazy, crazy. I got another notepad that has at least one page that's writable on it. Thank God. Okay. But yes, what I think is important, right, is maybe sort of if we were to find the name of this book. If we could find the name of the book, we might be able to search it in the public library and then find a little bit more. I don't think it's Piketty, because Piketty is the name of the magazine, so it can't be that. But also, let's look back into this Ruby Spratt versus Cicely Sanchez, and I believe that this is the lawsuit over the book, right? News Time briefly covered this lawsuit between Ruby Spratt and Piketty magazine surrounding Cicely Sanchez. They said that she didn't have the right to redistribute those photos of Guy Hudson. Piketty appeared unannounced that they would be pulling, apparently announced that they would be pulling their issue the following day, the moment that Ruby Legal Enterprises threatened them. And basically, and instead of people not buying it, they brought it more because they found out that nobody, they found out it wasn't about to be a thing, and people, wanted to find out what was in it. Okay, so I guess if anything, I'm thinking we search Ruby Spratt and then we search her company. I'm thinking, right? There's got let's do it again. Let's search all. Okay, so we got quite a few things here. So we got this first one, which we've been on here already. So we know that Ruby Spratt is the company's lawyer. Ruby Spratt also works for Clark, who we're working with. Ruby Spratt is also someone that helped rebuild the Clan's trust. And essentially the Clan's trust is some legal document that makes sure that everybody in the family keeps the money, and people who are not in the family don't keep the money. But because of this Clan's trust, in these affairs, people are in the family that they don't necessarily know or originally from the family. So, seemed like Ruby actually approached the Roottree sometimes late in March. What if Ruby was cheating with Clark? What if this name was Clark? I mean, Clark did say that, we already know that Clark was, with multiple partners, so who's to say it couldn't have been one more, right? I think we were convinced that this was Elias, though, because of when it happened. This is 1908. Yeah, I think Clark's would have been later on, because Clark is the same, around a similar age as Guy. Like, he's in the same generation, so they're probably within 10 years old, right? All right, so let's go back. We got a couple more things to do, but we saw that Ruby approached the Roottrees. The family jumped on the chance, and they basically wanted to keep their shares of the Clan's trust as high as possible. Okay, and we read this. Basically, it wasn't actually legally sound, and people could have basically fucked with it. And then basically they hired Ruby to make it legally tight, so nobody could change whatever is set in stone. Okay, so we got another one that had her head rolled. Ruby graduated top of her class. Her speech was somewhat controversial, as it was quite serious with a heavy focus on wealth inequality. This didn't go well with the predominantly middle to upper class audience in attendance. Ruby, unsatisfied by simply earning her place at Mid-Eastern with a full scholarship, went on to earn a captive audience of her peers with a perfect GPA. Interesting. The religion of poverty. That shit's kind of silly. I don't know what that necessarily means, but I'm assuming she was trying to be like, oh, like material things aren't forever, but wealth is in the mind or something. I don't know. And then we just read this one, and then what about this Portland Telegraph? Let's see. Ruby Spratt was featured in the Portland Telegraph when she was in high school in an article called Local Teen Making Change for the Foster Care System. According to the article, Ruby Spratt grew up in the foster care system and was apparently the valedictorian of her school and was a Girl Scout at the time of the article, who was earning her gold award. This required a project to help the community, and Ruby chose to raise money to build a fountain she called a foster fountain. Ooh, that's worth looking up. Highlight that real quick. The fountain has a few small pedestals that stick up high above the water. People are expected to toss coins into the fountain for good luck and will be encouraged to aim for the top of the pedestals. All the coins scraped from the bottom are slated to be donated to Portland's foster care system. A coalition of local businesses that sponsored the fountain have committed to matching any donations. Successfully landed on the... Okay. Let's copy that. Okay, now this is a job for here. Alright. Fountain of Youth, also known as Foster Fountain, is a fountain in a small park in Portland. All proceeds from the change thrown into the fountain are donated to the foster care system. A website for Portland's Parks and Recreation mentions under a trivia section that the Fountain of Youth was originally conceived by Ruby Spratt, an alumni of the foster care system. As more businesses signed on as sponsors grew in scope beyond Spratt's original hopes. The fountain is unique because it has special targets that visitors can aim their coin towards. Okay. That doesn't tell me anything though, because I think Ruby Spratt, who would we say that Ruby Spratt will be with if Ruby Spratt is here? I think a red flag that I would say is not a red flag, but something else that some of these people have in common who were not necessarily born from knowledge of the family, aka affairs or infidelities, I feel like, or grew up in the foster care system. So, like Joanna was, a parent to David, but, at some point Joanna was not here and David grew up, he spent 16, 18 in the foster care, something like that. And then, I definitely feel like it's similar stories that we'll say. Okay, let's go back to the computer. What else could we look up? We can look up the Fountain of Youth. I mean, I really don't think that will pop up anything else that we don't have. Apparently, at the unveiling of the fountain, the mayor of Portland gave a speech, and there were performances by multiple local entertainers, as well as the ribbon cutting from the people most instrumental in bringing the fountain to fruition. The article calls out that all of the performers and speakers, with the exception of the mayor, were foster care alumni, and most of them grew up together as close friends. What? Did they all end up at the same foster care facility? This includes poets, musicians, and dancers. Dirty Davy was listed as one of the musicians. We just stumbled upon something cool. I think we stumbled upon something cool because these people know each other. So that probably means Ruby Spratt knows Davy. So if Ruby Spratt grew up in foster care, then that means Ruby Spratt could be an offspring. And if we are talking about any offspring, we could assume, since they're a little younger, that Ruby Spratt will be somewhere over here. We don't know if Ruby Spratt has kids though. We also don't necessarily think or know if Ruby Spratt. So we don't know. But I could put Ruby Spratt down. This is my suspected location for her. I'm surprised she's all over the, not the news, but she's like, you know, well, she's a lawyer. No. And we don't have a photo. Okay, so what now? Okay, so we gotta look for more. So clearly the Fountain of Youth did come up with something. I mean, we could search Dirty Davy. I don't know if that's gonna help me find anything about Ruby Spratt. I more so want to find out if she has children. I feel like that will help me narrow down how many. I mean, pretty much everybody. Oh no, Ruby Spratt, if she grew up in a foster care system, she could very well be, she could very well just be a child, and that's why we put her here, because she grew up with Davy, or, you know, David. Okay. Let's search all Dirty Davy. Okay. And then I believe this is just a whole bunch of stuff about the old music, but it could be worth. Nothing came up. Anything? Okay, so we might have to. I mean, we could look back into 5Ps. I feel like we got everything though. But you never know. Teen Blast. Okay, so we read this one. They had a little bio. Okay, so nothing necessarily about him. We were going back to Ruby Spratt, right? Did we search Ruby Spratt's company name? That's what I don't think we did. So, Ruby Legal Enterprises. Where is it at? There we go. Right here. Boom. And then we'll go back to search all. We'll search that there. Business Watch. Okay. Okay, we just read this one. What about this one? Okay, yeah, we read that one as well. Okay. We're just looking for a keyword to grab onto. That's what we need. We need something to grasp. Interesting. Okay, well, is there anything else we can grab from here that's not Cicely Sanchez? We could try. I don't know if we tried to look up Guy Hudson in all the periodicals. It could be worth it. Because this is who, you know, has the most thing. I kind of want to go to this one. Is this one old? Yeah, they passed. What if this had something useful in it, though? Uh-oh. So we read that one. I believe we read this one. And then we read this one. This one is old as well. Okay, so it's not necessarily about Guy. I'm gonna take a water break. A water and a Swedish fish break. I have a Swedish fish. I have a water. This utensil that will help you lose 50 pounds. Imagine using a utensil to eat or make your food, and it helps you lose weight. That's crazy. All right, so next thing I'm thinking about, since we pretty much looked at everything I think I could, and then we look back into this book and we search more. I guess I can start with Sam Matson. She's like the author. Oh, Samantha? What's her name? Okay, so nothing here at all. What's this thing? Okay. So, this pretty much just says that this is a book she wrote about basically telling the truth about everything that happened. And basically she didn't really like Guy Hudson. And this was what the one line that helped me solve where Guy was. He was very much not a fan of remaining faithful to his wife. I'm like, okay, this is the guy with 5 affairs for real. Okay. Let's go back and search back to look this Antonella's place. There were some real interesting things in here too. There was somebody talking about. So we got this Rochelle Zimmer person. Sold the land the building was on, and at the time of the article, she was unsure if the restaurant would move to a new location or she would retire. Many years before that, there's a puff piece from Valentine's Day in 1978. 1978. Guy. Be fucking for real. So was this about? Nah, I don't think so. Well, let's keep reading. Yes. Okay. So we got more stuff about this Christine Garland. Okay. Christine Garland responded. She and her husband Steve. Christine and Steve Garland, who was a chef at Antonella's, met years ago when she delivered produce from her mother's farm. Steve used to work extra hours just to be there during her deliveries. Oh, dropping my pen. There it is. Okay. Although they grew apart when the restaurant switched suppliers, reconnected by chance and eloped at the end of last year. Now she has a bun in the oven and they're both working as much as they can. She's a secretary but went back to delivering produce on the weekends, trying to save up money to move to Boston and open up their own restaurant. Okay, so I guess we look back. We look more into Steve. We can let's look. Let's finish this Antonella's thing, and then we'll come back. All right, boom, perfect. That's great. Okay, so we are going to look up Christine Garland, and then if we need to, we'll look up her husband as well. Is it Steve? Yeah. Steve Garland is mentioned in a couple articles. The first is an article about how he met his wife Christine when he worked at Antonella's. The second is from months later in September of 1978, a listing for his weekend cooking classes, Gourmet for the Groovy. The blurb mentions that he's giving out lessons from his home kitchen from the last month so he could keep an eye on his son. Just his son. Bro, could they be here? Because Steve is a chef and he may even be on more things. I don't know. I'm like, who will we find a picture of? What if their son is not their son, though? Third was from 1991, titled Local Author Sued by Former Butler County Restaurant. Seems like a local author by the name of Mark Zimmer. Hold on. And then we got Mark Zimmer, we got Rochelle Zimmer, and then we got the Garland, so Steve Garland. And then what was the other name? Christine. Real interesting that these names keep coming up. And then real interesting the exact thing. So like, what if the wife was cheating on both people? I don't know. One moment. Okay, so I think I want to search. Let me keep reading first, and then we're gonna search something. I think we're gonna go search into Zimmer because we're gonna go back and find where we found Rochelle Zimmer. That's wildin'. That is wildin'. So we're gonna copy Mark Zimmer. We're gonna search Mark Zimmer. So what we know, what I'm writing down right now, is that we know that Steve and Christine, they met at Antonellis. I hope I'm saying that right. Mark Zimmer and Rochelle Zimmer, we gotta figure out where the hell they came from. And I'm gonna search Mark Zimmer because he's the easier name to type. So we can't find an actual picture of the Kitchen Tales. We remember we read the Kitchen Tales and whatnot. Okay, so Mark is a bookstore owner. And then Rochelle is the owner of Antonellis. Why do I think this is important? I don't necessarily think that all of these people have anything to do with the Roottree, but I feel like something is very familiar with that. And then when we go back to search Steve Garland, he worked at Antonellis. Okay, so Steve was a chef, and then Sis was a secretary. And then what was her secondary job after she was a secretary? Delivering produce. So Christine, her mother owns a farm. So either, here's what I'm thinking, okay? This is a little bit messy of a theory. I'm thinking Steve was hunching on the owner of Antonellis, Rochelle. Maybe Rochelle leaked some of the stuff to Mark. I don't know, but I also thought it was interesting that we were talking about secretaries. I guess Beth was an actual secretary. Do we have an actual secretary named Christine Garland? We got somebody named Christine Farrow. Christine Garland, 1977. So Guy was hunching on Christine Garland too. Uh, if we had to say she belonged anywhere, maybe it'll be here. Cause what is this? To 1982. I mean, if he had one more affair, very much maybe. But we know that she has a husband, so it's either here. Oh no, I think it's here. I think it's here. And then Cicely probably belongs somewhere else. All right, and then so we are gonna put Christine. And what was her previous name? Pharaoh. And then her husband is Steve. Steven, I guess. I guess so. One second. So now what? I guess we could search Christine Farrell's original name and see if that pops up anywhere. Nope. All right, I guess let's go back and look into this and we could see maybe what even happened. Cuz what if he wrote about his wife's affair? Maybe, I don't know. Let's see. Treasure Tales is a book that combines recipes and stories. Blah 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 blah. The Plated Loaf. Flora Yates, and I think we were so focused on who the name for Flora Yates could actually be. For years, two bakers flirted. They grew their friendship, compared recipes, and combined knowledge. She loved his salt and pepper beard. He adored her rosemary cheeks. That's gonna be something. I think that when we find pictures of these people, that we're gonna be like, oh yeah, this is this person, right? Damn, my glasses didn't actually get clean. I need to actually wet them, to be real. My birthday's coming up, y'all. I don't know what I'm gonna do. Have some fun though. Have some fun. Have some fun. That's vibes. Okay, they thought sweetly about another, but one day one was whisked away, conscripted to bake the army's bread. So switch suppliers. So maybe this isn't about. This is about them. So it basically just says that they were liking each other. Then one day one got whisked away to bake somebody else's bread, aka I'm assuming that's when they changed suppliers. They found each other later on, and they both had like little successes some places, and they tried to figure out a way to put their loaves together, I guess. Thus was born the plated loaf. All right, so let me read this out before I tell you my theory, because I think it might make a little sense if I read it. Yates eats her plain, or basic. Okay. I got. Well, we'll read the whole story. Okay, so we know for 2 years, Baker's Flora and Yates flirted. They grew their friendship, compared recipes, and combined knowledge. She loved his salt and pepper beard. He adored her rosemary cheeks. They thought sweetly about another, but one day was whisked away. One day he was whisked away to conscripted to bake the army's bread. Bake the army's bread. So I'm assuming that this is the change in the thing. By the oil of the lamp, Flora's tears began to salt the bread. It was 10 to 12 years later when they met again, seemingly by fate. Flora's unique dough had earned her a position as the king's personal baker. So I assume that this is I don't know. Yates had found success as well. He baked for the kingdom's 45 diplomats. One day they returned from the Dutch Isles with the gifts. 450 unbaked loaves, and they were sent to the palace to teach a method that required no kneading. Upon seeing Yates, Flora was both delighted and distraught. She felt as though she was torn in two. She had not been aware of the gift and had already prepared buns for the palace ovens. She wished to greet Yates warmly, but was struck by fears that he'd be unable to bake with her, that she faced retribution for being unprepared. She cried out to Yates, adding more salt to the dough. Yates eased her pain. He insisted that she had no obligation to prepare for a return that she thought was impossible. But he shared her fear of retribution. He knew if they did not solve her predicament, they missed the final chance to bake together. In the end, instead of wallowing in the present, they worked together to shape their future. They twisted and entwined their doughs and baked them as one. Thus was born the plated loaf. Work quickly began with this new delight. The king's decree on royal parchment is that it will be considered a delicacy. I don't know. I was reading and I was like, what if she got, I don't know. The way it works, I'm like, what if she got pregnant? Because, like, this has, you would assume that this is, this will have to be a child. And then Christine will have to be the mother, right? But that don't always mean stuff. And then Christine could be here, or here as well, because we don't know if her and Steven are still together. I feel like I'm a little confused, and I think I'm gonna take the hint. I think it's about good time to take one. All right, be specific. A book about Elias Roottrees. Okay. Okay, that gives us some type of place to go. So now that we have that place to go, I think we can. We know that these names are important. We know that they have something to do with it. I don't know if Steve was cheating with Rochelle and that's how they did it, or if Steve, the cook or the chef, he just left his book there one day, or of his recipes, or whatever the case may happen. I just don't know how Mark Zimmer ended up writing the book that Steve was supposed to write, or vice versa. I don't know which one is which. But I think I'm going to go ahead and search Elias Roottree. We're going to try to get a book from here. And then there was a book. It was Bess Williams' book. Ah, we got something. Ah, so between now and then they had a new version of it. Okay. Interesting. So we weren't able to read this book before. I like this. We got a little bit of new information, and we not just swimming around the same ideas that have been in my head for the last like a little bit. So, dictionary defines propaganda as information, especially of a biased or misleading nature, used to promote or publicize a particular political cause or point of view. But if they were to replace that definition with a picture, it would be a picture of this book. This book tells you nothing new about Elias, and from what you know of his true feelings towards some of his extended family, you're not sure it tells you anything true about Elias either. The reissue of the book was so lazy that they reused the famous photo from Elias's business watch, whose copyright had expired. The best thing going for it was that it's only 85 pages long. Will it solve something for me? Nope, it didn't. I don't have enough. I thought I had her right. Well, yeah, we don't have enough pictures of people that we don't have right, or you know. All right, we can search Bess Williams, I guess. Nope. So now I'm just thinking it's more to it. I think. Let's go back to that original Elias search. I think I gotta sneeze 1 second. You know, your allergies messing with you so hard you start crying. Yo, Fluffy, how are you? Fluffy! No. How you been? Thank you for the blessings. I appreciate it. Okay, so I think I'm gonna search the periodicals for the first Anderson Maple Farm. And this is an old one, so it's probably not gonna tell us anything new. I should have paid attention to these numbers. I should have paid attention to these numbers, man. For real. But yeah, how have you been? You said it's been a bit. Yeah, it has been a bit. I've been such more of a casual streamer now. No, I'm joking. I still try to stream, but I got a job that my hours are just. I'm caregiving. It's not the worst thing in the world, you know. I mean, it's cool. But I feel like I'm just working times that I would normally stream, so it's. You know, it's a demanding job, so, you know, I've been doing pretty good, though. Chilling, vibing, trying to get back into it, trying to find something, you know, to be consistent some way. Took a little 2-week break, just some IRL stuff, you know, but been grinding slowly but surely. So Elizabeth had a daughter who worked as one of Guy's secretaries. Right? But this is Susan. I don't know. I'm taking another quick hint real quick. Let's see where it tells us. Alright, so this is definitely something. Is that same thing? Mary Beth's birth name. And we don't have Mary Beth's birth name up here? Are they trying to tell me something? So whose name was Clementine? Ah. I don't think it's Edsel. We don't even have enough people right. So we got her occupation. We got him. We got his occupation. We don't know what Mark did. Can we put criminal? Because my boy's a criminal. No. I don't know. But we need one more picture. We need one more picture. Alright, New Edison is a small record label based in Los Angeles. It existed for a few years in the 40s. It raced to release the cover of songs that were gaining in popularity. According to the website about history, the history of recorded sound, it was named after its founder, Sterling Edison. Its biggest claim to fame was being sued by the state of Thomas Edison in Edison versus Records versus Edsel. We're gonna search this one, this new old rugged cross. I wonder if this is gonna pop the same thing, but we do have the ability to search everything. Quaker? Okay, I guess so. I mean, that's her name, man. She ain't shit she could change about it, for real. Q? Quaker. Alright, well, we got Mary Beth right. We got two people right. I think we have them 100% right. Now we need photos. So now, is it going to give us another hint? Where is this information? Okay, we got to go look back into Mary Beth. Okay, so I don't know what the occupation of the child would be. And then even then, I think we have to get 4 correct. So we have 1, 2, 3, and then we would need a picture of one other person to figure it out, but I assume it's not going to give me another hint to figure that out. So we know we have this. This is Mark Clementine. Maybe we could just put this photo here too. Maybe that'll help as well. And he was smuggling reptiles into the United States. What is he, a zookeeper? No, he's not gonna be in this. Mark Clementine. So let's look more into Mark Clementine. He had a nickname too, as well. Ooh, look at that, Billy Sims. He did a small piece about a fight between Sims and Crocodile, but tried to approach it from a different perspective. Their goal was to paint a picture of 2 men evolved from others who knew them best. Not only did they manage to interview Sims' wife Carla, Colleen Webb, Mark's ex-wife. I mean, they say ex, but oh yeah. What was the name? Colleen Webb. Yep, and then we don't because I think we're using a maiden name, so we don't know this last name. Because down here the kids will have the if they are married, they will have the guy's last name. see like hints that we know that he had a daughter named Mary, and we know her name is Mary Clementine as well. I wonder who was Sims. Okay. As well as multiple staff members at his school, but they hunted out Colleen Webb, Mark's ex-wife. According to the section with Colleen, she and he met when he worked for an airline. He was a drinker, will always have mood swings, so he was a pilot. And then we know that he did some other stuff. He was charged with assault of a fellow pilot and lost his job. Then they divorced. At the time, she was pregnant with their second daughter. So he has 2 daughters. And she felt like she needs to get out before things got worse. She left him and moved to San Diego to live with her sister. And told her oldest that her dad had to fly planes for the Army. She raised them both by herself. Although she never went through the trouble of exchanging their names legally, they used the Webb name and so nobody could connect them to her ex-husband. All right. I mean, we got that, but like, what does that tell me about the book? The book? Oh, the book itself? Maybe? Kitchen Tales. I don't know if we looked at the spider search for it. Kitchen Tales is a story-based recipe book credited to Mark Zimmer that had some mixed success. Oh yeah, we did rate this. That's not what I wanted to look up. I wanted to look up this Kitchen Tales. I thought I had that. Well. No copies available, re-released as Garnishing the Truth. The entire description of the book, according to the library system, is a recipe book that contains stories. Oh, so they made a new book. Garnishing the Truth is a cookbook credited to Garland and Zimmer. It was released in '94. It was quite, so that was 5 years ago. It was quite successful after the duo appeared to promote it on the daytime talk show. They've been multiple printing since. According to a book review, the recipes are accompanied by stories that help the reader remember the ingredients. The reviewer says it seems perfect for learning to cook with an entire family. Okay, the introduction of this book is a series of acknowledgements from Steve. The first is, Christine, thank you for everything. Your support means the world to me. You are the apple of my pie. The second is to James and Robert. You're becoming amazing men and incredible chefs. I guess I'm a good teacher. The final is to Mark Zimmer. You prove my storytelling approach to recipes could be popular. Without you, this book couldn't exist. So he sued Mark Zimmer, and then they ended up doing it together, I guess. There's a foreword by Mark Zimmer. I first met Steve in '78 when he taught a cooking class. The next time I saw him was over a decade later when he was suing me for stealing his recipes. Yes, really. So you might be wondering what I'm doing in this introduction. Well, it turns out that Steve and I have more in common than we thought. Instead of settling it in court, we settled at McCarran's Brewhouse over a game of darts. They said they'd give us the first drink of the night free for an entire year for mentioning them. By the end of the game, he and I agreed that we both rather make a ton of money together than spend a ton of money on lawyers. It's pretty rare to meet your best friend so late in life, but I decided to retire. I moved to Boston so we could just hang out. So if you're browsing the bookstore, please buy a book. We need more money for when the free beer runs out, and the bookstore could probably use the sale. Well, I'm going to search this up. McCarran's Brewhouse is a pub in Boston, and they have a website. Apparently, the bar has been around for a long time. On the site, there's a list of famous people who have had a drink there, including the former president of the United States, not the Roottree company, Kennedy. There's also a few listings of television shows and books that have mentioned McCarran's, as well as how they came up. One of them is Garnishing the Truth, which the site has this to say. The local and regular Stevie G wrote a book about food. We prefer cocktails, but he gave us a shout out, and we ain't gonna say no to free press. So grab a bite at his kid's joint, Friday, then swing to meet him for a drink. Okay, that gives us more. Friday. Friday is a fairly popular place in Boston. Let me highlight one of these. They don't have a website. They don't have a website, but many locals seem to mention them in various places. One more in-depth review explains that it's not full restaurant, it's just a front door with very small interior window. Usually the restaurant only serves vegetables, but a lot of reviews say in spite of that, it's delicious. Intriguing, okay. You also find a short story about it listed on a website called My Boston Homepage. Whoever runs the page seems to link to random sites related to Boston, personal anecdotes related to Boston, and give extremely short opinions on things in Boston. It's very unorganized. It has this to say about Friday. Wicked overrated. I saw it in Chef's Signature, so I went down there. I went and there was a huge line, and they didn't have a single meat dish. What is even the point? So he's a vegetarian chef. One second. Alright, so I think Friday is important, but I want to search this my Boston homepage. My Boston homepage is run by somebody with eclectic tastes. They seem to rate things on a scale from wicked awful to wicked wicked. LMAO, that's silly. One second again, sorry. The most recent thing to receive a Wicked Awful was an antique store. It's called Bee's Things. Apparently, the owner, Beatrice, is not very friendly. The most recent established to receive a Wicked is a comic book store in Cambridge named the Millionaire Picnic. As far as you can tell, nothing besides Friday seems to be connected to your search anyway. Yeah. That don't mean I can't search it. Bee's Things is an antique store located in Boston. The owner's name is Beatrice, and the store's name appears to be somewhat awkward attempt at bee stings pun. This is supported by what only could be described as a swarm of bee-related imagery and puns on their website. The logo is a pastel yellow and black stripe theme with clip art that with insects all over it. Yeah, I figured it wasn't relevant, but... I'm a little confused. I wonder if anybody else calls him Stevie G. Hell no. And then we could say their son is a chef. If this is something there. I couldn't really find anything on Friday. Oh, did I have to search this in the thing? Imagine. Alright, we can go back and look up Friday. I think this is the Friday page. I don't see nothing, but here we go. Now something should pop up. Yep. I don't know why I thought that original thing was the thing, but I was like, why I got a website if it's a periodical? But you know, goes to show you just got to read a little harder. Chef signature covered Friday less than a year ago, right around the time you were doing your initial investigation. Each article in Chef signature seems to focus on the restaurant, like the magazine name applies. Each restaurant lists one main dish, that the head chef is known for. Friday's signature is the samosa cone. The cover and main article has been added to your evidence. Alright, I guess we just gotta peek at what this is. Chef's signature, 1978, can a vegetarian diet be trendy? Sitting down with the Garlands, the new boys in Boston. Ah, yes. Chef's signature, a nationally published magazine targeted towards fans of unusual restaurants. Featured James and Robert Garland. Okay, so these are probably swapped if I had to guess. Unless guys are not a chef no more. But let's keep reading before we start changing a whole bunch of stuff. On the cover of their 98 issue, according to the article, two brothers own a small walk-up window in Boston called Friday. They play on tie-dye shirts that the servers wear, exclusively serves vegan dishes. Most of the offerings are heavily inspired by powerful dishes found in Thai and Indian food. Their signature dish is the samosa cone. That's probably good as hell, though. Which from a distance somewhat resembles a traditional ice cream, complete with the waffle pattern. Instead, it contains fried potatoes, pureed peas, carrots, and a special ginger-based sauce. Robert, who is 3 years younger than James, jokes that although the age difference has left him dedicated to wear the sous chef jacket his whole life, oh yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Alright, who we got locked up? We got Elias, we got Mark, we got Mary Beth, and we got Robert. And we got Stephen Garland in here as well, which starting to make sense. And Colleen as well. Oh, I thought we needed 8 more.
Finally, I think I have you to thank for that one.
You're welcome, Clark. I don't know why I keep thinking the space bar skips.
My family's in a bit of a rough patch. Even though the candy is selling better than ever, everyone is fighting over the trust.
Why is that?
The majority.
To dissolve it? So
the arguments about what to do next are endless and heated. More than a few Roottrees are worried about losing their wealth. I don't think we deserve it more than anyone else. I love my family, my wife, my daughters, even my son, who I hardly ever get to see. I want to keep them safe and secure, but I didn't do anything to deserve this fortune. Hell,
so you don't want the money?
I probably deserve it less than most. It took me way too long to get my life together.
That's humble. You know, he could be like, nah, we gotta keep this trust. Come on now.
Okay, enough about me. Here's the deal. I can't stop the majority from voting one way or another.
Right.
If you keep passing along potential Roottrees, I'll keep adding them to the list. On the other hand, there's been some leaps forward in genetics.
Right.
It may sound like science fiction, but we can actually determine who's in the family just by testing their DNA. What you've done so far has been very useful. Just keep filling out the tree and we'll prepare for the tests.
Okay. We're doing really good, honestly. If I had to say so myself, I would say we're doing very, very fine. Now I'll turn it back down in my ear. So, there was something else. As a result, James also always answers most of the interview's questions. James credits his love for food and his culinary skills to their upbringing. Most kids hate vegetables growing up, but they don't have parents like we did. My father was a chef and my mother grew up on a farm that supplied his restaurant. That's how they met. I don't have any memories from the farm or anything like that, but since we moved here, I couldn't even talk. But they told me stories. My dad was a great storyteller. He even wrote a book that partially helped fund Friday. When we moved, they were looking to open their own restaurant together. Unfortunately, they never got it off the ground. His line cook gig ended up being less temporary than he hoped, and he had to go back to work as a secretary. And she had to go back to work as secretary even after Robert was born. But we were old enough to go to school, and we spent our days with my aunt. In the diner where he worked, my dad had no room for experimenting, so he exercised his skills at home on his days off. We always go shopping and cook as family on those days, and even though we were hyper kids running around causing a ruckus, those were some of our family's favorite memories since we were all together. Mom always had the eye for the best vegetables for him to work with, and she did her best to pass that on to us. According to the article, the parents who are now retired visit Friday often. They even have a signature dessert, the Sistine apple. The apple pie has always been my mom's favorite, and my dad's always had this stupid line he used to make her laugh involving apple pie. Most people realize it's Sistine Chapel pun, but and assume that that's all there is to it, but it's actually secretly named after them, sort of. Sistine Chapel. We gotta get a picture. So we go search the Sistine Chapel. And then we gonna search the Sistine apple, I guess. Chef's signature cover Friday. Okay. Interesting. It's not in here, but it pops up when you search it. Most of cones are very creative. We gotta get the last name right at least. Alright. Alright, give me a few minutes. I gotta use the bathroom. I'll be right back. Yup. Hello. Looks like we had a troll. Not a troll. I'm talking about best viewers. I'm surprised that they be coming through. But I guess that's why I can't do anything with it, because they already added actions to it. So everybody be on it though. Alright. Yeah. Series always, man, that's what I'm saying. So everybody's always on it. Always, always, always. Alright, so we just saw the next few people. I'm glad we saw that Christine Garland thing, because I was like, what the fuck? How am I solve it? What am I do? Because like it's not obvious who's who, you know. So we gotta find a picture of Christine. I said she went to go work out as a secretary even after his brother was born. And do we have any other pictures? I wish you can copy everything from everywhere. I spelled her name so wrong. It's an S. That's not what I want. They know that's not what I wanted either. I want to search the periodicals, I guess. God damn. That's frustrating, bro. Okay, here we go. I don't know if this is a new thing. Probably not, no. Piketty magazine is a publication that, as far as you can tell, has no consistent theme. It tends to contain tabloid-esque articles that appeal to a wider variety of audiences and appears in many grocery stores near the checkout line. Unlike traditional tabloids, it doesn't feature any celebrities on the cover. Instead, it tends to catch on to and create sensationalist headlines about whatever subject appears to be popular at any given time. In recent years, this has included Beanie Babies, Magic Eye Images, and even Red Bull. It is often coming to fire for printing fiction along with facts. Piketty gets this by stating that every issue of every article of all its articles are all that he's hearsay that's fit to print. At one point, Piketty ran an article about Cicely Sanchez, an author. She claims to have written an unread book about Guy Hudson. The article is not even the main focus of the issue, yet the magazine was threatened legally. She had been commissioned to write. Right, but what is that? Let's copy this and we can look a couple of the books she wrote up. That's what I'm thinking. It's like a typical book summary or whatever you want to call it. Foreign Gospel tells the tale of a man from the Catholic Church who claimed that he was told by God that he should travel to Thailand to begin preach, specifically with the goal to convert 10,000 people. He returned to the United States after just 2 years, claimed to have succeeded. The book tells a version of the story, but the author, Cicely Sanchez, also traveled to Thailand to investigate these claims and to talk with some of those so-called converted. And this was written in 1984. So Cicely Sanchez was either here or here. I don't know. You got Ruby Sprite here. Roottree related conspiracy. Roottrees curse? Thomas Overall's conspiracy theories. It's still thriving. The visitor counted that it's reached 7 digits. Many older articles have been replaced. It seems that the recent uprising in the Roottree has left Thomas Underwood with a constant stream of events to base new theories on. More than one of his theories involve Roottree deaths being fake. According to Overwood, statistically, when you have this many high-profile people who have died in a family, the odds of one of them faking their death, it's just math. The newfound focus on death faking seems to coincide with the post mentioning that he's begun believing that Guy's not dead in theory. In his own words, my eyes have been opened. All of this is beginning to make too much sense. One of his posts details the belief that Ron Roottree is still in charge, Gwen Roottree's death was faked, and that Clark was only there to throw people off. Apparently, this allowed Ron to travel to France to develop new candy recipe in secret. Another is about the rapper 5Ps. He can't possibly be Roottree. One of his first songs, when he performed under the devil name, actually mentioned he wanted to have sex with Raina. Yeah, we read that. That was awkward. Not even Sam Madsen is spared. According to Overwood, the author of Six Pieces isn't real. Sam Madsen is an anagram from Am Madness. They're purposely leaving hints for us. He claims that by using Six Pieces with Lauren Tree's book as a one-time pad, he's began to decrypt a cipher. Most of the cipher has seemed meaningless, and he's managed to pick out the words people and vastness and is working on figuring out what it means. There's also a request at the bottom. Next year, 2000, is a leap year. Overwood is looking for funds and volunteers to catch the Roottrees red-handed in Operation T29. He specifically mentions not to volunteer if you ever drunk Spirit Cola, but doesn't go into why. And the male Satan plague is its return in 2000. Anyone in the year 2000 who was drunk Spirit Cola will die. That's such a weird thing. Oh, that was just that simple. Just to search the exact thing he said. The Guy's Not Dead conspiracy scenes from a website that focuses on the clues that Rootrees have supposedly hid all over the place. This includes on candy wrappers and print advertisements and television commercials and in their jingles, etc. The story, according to the website, is that Guy Hudson is a terrible president of the Roottree Candy Company and introduced multiple failed products. Something needed to be done that will put the company immediately and instantly back in favor of the consumers, so they killed off Guy Hudson and replaced him with a new president. This move immediately garnered sympathy, and the company recovered. Jeez, I can't. My glasses are. That's tough. That's tough. They recovered next year, more popular than ever. The next president stayed much further out of the limelight, and some people even theorize it's because he was simply Guy Hudson in an elaborate disguise, which is why he stopped appearing in public. The people who run the site are asking for help. They are certain that there's a clue to all of this that accidentally leaked in a banned article from the magazine on Piketty. Their page is a scan of the magazine's cover, the interview with Cicely Sanchez about Guy Hudson, and some photos. You add all of them to your evidence. Okay, so we have, that's Zach, right? Guy Hudson, and something else. That's Cicely, I'm assuming. The photo is first from a magazine interview with Cicely Sanchez and Piketty. The issue of Piketty magazine that it came from was pulled from the shelves, but you managed to find it online. Piketty does not label its individual photos. Both photos were instead under the shared label. Cicely was provided these photos by the Roottree company for use in her book. Huh? This photo is for Piketty. Okay. In the background of the photo, there's a Christmas tree. Who else got a picture? Is there any other pictures that we need up above up here? Nope. Nope. So the picture of the woman belongs down here somewhere. And she's blonde haired. And then where is that thing? Is it this? The Cicely Sanchez thing from the beginning? Oh, nope. This is something totally different. Oh. Interesting. So this has got updated. This is an interview with Cicely Sanchez, an author. She was hired to write a book about Guy Hudson. You claim to be paid a significant amount to write a book about one of the Roottrees, Guy Hudson. He was president for a short period at the end of the 1970s, right? Yeah, I met him on New Year's Eve, actually. The last night of 1978. The guy liked to throw big parties. I was just coming off of a changed man and looking for my next project. When his wife learned who I was, she invited me to the party, and they cornered me to talk about a book. That was the first time anyone recognized me from my work. I had finally made it. The book they asked me to write sounded great, but none of the stuff that made him interesting was allowed to stay. Chop, chop, sniff, sniff, anything with the slightest threat to Guy's image ended up in gonzo. What was the stuff that made him interesting? At his core, Guy was not complicated. In fact, I think I could boil him down to two traits. First thing, he wanted to be seen as the second coming of the great Elias Roottree. Second, he'd never be satisfied living the life he needed to be seen that way. He had his fortune and good looks, and he really liked to exploit that to pick up women. But he couldn't let anyone else know, so it cost him a lot to cover it up. That was the only interesting aspect of Guy. He was James Bond trying to convince people he was Mr. Rogers, I guess. Mr. Rogers, really. Maybe that's not the best metaphor, but Elias Roottree was boring as hell and all about family. The guy did everything he could to be seen that way. After I submitted my first draft, he sent me this garbage book, The Roottree Legacy, with Elias on the cover. The last time he and I met, he had even switched out his orange suit for some green ones Elias wore. And remember Fancy Flavors? Guy knew that part of Elias's legacy was the 5-piece flavor, so that's what Guy tried to do too. Caviar was a disaster here, but if it was actually somewhat popular in Brazil for whatever reason. The Christmas in 1979, he went to Brazil to open up the Roottree Brazil factory. Guy was always hopping around the world trying to recreate that success. How come the book never came out? It's complicated. I had an out in my contract. Surprisingly, Guy signed the contract my lawyers wrote without running it in anybody, his legal department. I could put my name off the book anyways, but Guy got the content. After I left, it probably got a lot harder to convince any real publisher to give it time. He was the president, right? Do you know why he never released it himself? If I had to guess, his family was very wisely put a stop to it. In mid-1981, months after I had already moved on, he called me back and showed me a final draft. Do you know how expensive it is to publish one copy of a book? If I had my name on it in a big shiny embossed letters, like all problems in life, throwing money at me was his attempt to win me back. But it had half the page count and the narrative was torn to bits. No thanks. Dinner was good. Imported steak that likely cost as much as of a month of my mortgage, and we got pretty drunk. He sent me his mistress, Susie or something, into the bathroom to proposition me. Susie. Uh-oh, that's not what I wanted to do. Susie. Bro, is that Susie? But who will be that guy? You know, I was thinking it's this person, whoever this is. I remember her from our trips overseas. She was too good for him. Anyways, he died soon after, and that was the last that ever came up. What can you tell us about the family? Any insight to the scandals from the recent book by Sam Madsen? I know I actually haven't read it. I just skimmed the sections on Guide to see why people were suddenly calling me up to ask about the man. I'd say she did well for what she had to work with. She only had rumors, whereas I spent time telling him. Sometimes he knew, sometimes he didn't. He invited me to join them when dealing with Roottree Brazil, but I actually had people on him when went to Australia, France, and China too. When he met with someone, I figure out who they were and how they were involved. Doubtably so if the meeting happened when he didn't want me around. Despite his best efforts, I got the whole truth, including things his family never knew. For example, the daughter of his business partner in Australia, I think her name was Robin, and she definitely spent a few nights together. He and she definitely spent a few nights together that he didn't want his family to know about, but I did. Madsen got things wrong. Sam mentions guys' affairs and treat them like most people will logically think to treat them. Like the infidelity was a problem for Patricia. When his wife first approached me, though, it wasn't to talk, if you get my meaning. On paper and in public, it was a marriage like any other, but in reality, it was more of a mutual beneficial arrangement. They both got what they wanted out of it, the same thing. What was that? I assume I only have to spell it out so you can get it in writing for your readers. Women. Patricia enjoyed the company of women, and the swinger scene made that more accessible. I told her I wasn't interested in her and Guy. I found out later that if I said yes, her next question would have been whether or not her husband had to be there too. That's a wildin'. So she tried to set her up. Guy, on the other hand, was seen in a traditional marriage at the same time, could bed any woman that he found him charming. I can assure you that was the exact type of marriage he was interested in. Okay, so interesting. Interesting to say the least. I don't know what to take from that. I'll take a sip of water so I can think a little bit longer. Oh man. Ooh. Well, I guess I'll look up Roottree Brazil. Roottree Brazil, sometimes erroneously referred to as Roottree Brazil, is one of the companies created to manufacture and distribute Roottree candy. It was developed as part of the Roottree Everywhere initiative in the beginning of 1979. Unlike some of the other Roottree Everywhere results, Roottree Brazil seems to be a success. You do some rough translating and find a significant amount of information about it. Brazil was the only region in which caviar flavored 5 pieces were a hit. The primary reason is that the factory still exists to this day solely to create that flavor, which comes in its own standalone 5 pieces bag with Portuguese writing. A small town named Alvogos near the municipality of Sao Bernardo de Campo, let's highlight that, became the location chosen for the Roottree Candy Company after a newly elected local politician named Edson Soares heard that they were planning a new factory and petitioned them in the early 1979. The factory was controversial, as locals didn't want it there. Roottrees visited Brazil around Christmas and managed to get a breakground on the project. Since then, however, it has been operating relatively smoothly except for two incidents. The first one is Incendio do Bordo. It's interesting. I know most of Spanish. I feel like I'm pretty good at reading Spanish, and I'm okay at talking. People have to be patient if they talk to me, but um, in Spanish they use de. So like for like of. So like I'm assuming it's the Bordeaux incident or incident of Bordeaux or something like that. That's something that will be like de for Spanish. The second was an unsuccessful strike in '95 that involved all of the factory workers being replaced. The factory was originally built and run, according to paperwork at the time, by a small company called Novo Corporal de Doces de Brazil, which translates to New Brazil Candy Corporation. This company no longer exists. Not much information is returned about it, or existed about it, and the Rootrees now run Roottree Brazil entirely. So we got quite a few things to look up. Yeah, that's probably not going to be here, but I guess I'll also look up Roottree Brazil in the periodicals too before we go to our next thing. Roottree everywhere companies, including Roottree Brazil, Roottree Aus, China Roottree, and Roottree France, tend to be difficult to find anything useful about Business Watch due to the massive amounts of advertising and business deals unrelated to your search that they're part of. You don't find much that you can't find online, though. You may be able to find more by searching individual people involved with the deals that led to the company's creations. All right. None of the Roottree Everywhere's forays made a blip on the local news radar. There are very, very brief mentions here and there when things were announced, but nothing relevant to your search. It seems like the time of the company's expansion, the late 70s, the magazine was considered the Roottree company to be in a state of disarray, and as results didn't report in detail on their initiative. This was compounded by the fact that oftentimes the most important details were happening far from Butler. As far as you could tell, Butler County Times never even mentioned Guy Hudson by the name of these articles. They preferred to lump him under the umbrella of Roottree leadership. Okay. I don't know if this is going to pop up anything different. Yeah, it did. Roottree Everywhere is an expansion in the 70s. It's coincided with some of the large changes of the company and had mixed success. As far as you could tell, the different companies related to it were all informed in very different and somewhat haphazard ways. There's a minimal organized information about the history of the expansion itself online, but you can glean the following. Roottree candy has been distributed globally to certain markets approved by Elias in the early 1940s. This includes places like Canada, Mexico, and select countries in Europe, mostly the UK. Roottree Everywhere involved the Rootree's expansion to other major markets that were assessed to be ready for Roottree. They started with 4 and had no share in Australia, Brazil, China, and France. Each of the countries had an entire new company form by making the deals with local distributors and okay. And that's where we go back into this Roottree Brazil. Alright, so we're looking for other things to search. So I guess we'll search the town Alvagos. Sao Bernardo do Campo is a real place in Brazil. A game designer by the name of Jeremy Johnston looked up cities in Brazil that had a lot of manufacturing so he could place a fictional factory here. He did not want to offend any Brazilians with the tale he was telling that involved the corruption and politics. So a small town he made up, Alvagos, is where the factory was located and invented by mixing 2 other regions, Interlagos and Alvarenga. Okay, that's cool. You know, we know we go looking for all the Easter eggs if we can. Okay, so this is that same thing. This brings you back to the Easter egg, the Obra Dinn Easter egg. Okay, so what about this? we not search up Roottree, Brazil? All right, let's look up the politician, Edison Soares. Soares. Edison Soares is a Brazilian politician. You find a dissertation published by a college student as part of their PhD in history. It focuses on the rise of democracy in Brazil. It seems up until '88, Brazil was run by the military, and the politics during that time were often a hotbed for corruption and nepotism. The paper tells of a few politicians at the time, including Edison Soares. Edison is a former mayor of Alvagos, Brazil. Before politics, he was a manager at an automotive manufacturing plant for a major American car company, and he was put in charge of Alvagos by the military in 1973. As mayor, he used his manufacturing background and knowledge of American business to establish new factories, distribution plants, and other business ventures in the area. This had two side effects. First, he became quite rich. Second, many locals were forcibly relocated. Oh, that's fucked up. This did not make him a popular mayor. And what the paper speculates was a move to counteract his popularity. His wife Sonia was discreet and put... Oh, we got a wife, so maybe this person belongs on here. His wife Sonia was discreet and put in charge of the television station called Telerede. He often used his connection to ensure supporters would appear on local television, sprouting his belief and emphasizing his political victories. He remained in office until '88, when he was defeated in the first election after the military government was no longer in control. After this election loss, he quickly left town behind. It is not known where he's gone, but the dissertation he speculates he likely fled to stay alive. So what if this photo is the mayor and his wife? We don't know if they have kids, but we do know we have the mayor, and we have a picture of both people. So let's say the mayor goes here, the woman goes here, and then what was the guy's name? Edison Soares. Edson Soares. And then what was the wife's name? Sonia. And we don't know her maiden name. Alright, we're gonna search this Telerede. Telerede is a former television station in Brazil. It came into being in 1970 after a vacuum was created due to the removal of different network at the hands of Brazilian military dictatorship. Okay. So if this is them, which I think it is because we have a picture of both the guy and the girl, versus this doesn't have a picture, this doesn't have a picture, and we have somebody set. These have pictures, but we know this has something to do with guy. Looked like he was hugging on somebody's wife, for real. What could her last name be, though? But let's figure out, what does she do? She was put in charge of a television station. Now little entertainer, media mogul, news anchor. I don't know. What if that was Christine? Her boys have brown hair though, so her husband could have brown hair. That could be a thing. If not, this person would potentially go here too. Because I feel like we're using most of the photos, or if not all the photos that we have, they've all pretty much belong somewhere in one way or another. See where they're directly. I don't think we look up this guy's name in the periodicals either. Interesting. Okay. Does not seem to be anywhere relevant by the name of Sonia Soares. However, Spider Search does says a news anchor named Flavio Soares, who has a mother named Sonia. News anchor. And then the news anchor would be okay. Flavio Soares is a young Brazilian newscaster with a bit of a cult following. The discourse around him is, to be put polite in polite terms, lewd. There's a website about something called fan fiction that has a small section dedicated to him. That's gross. Imagine you're a real person and people write fan fiction about you. That's kind of wild to think about. It seems that women and some men of a variety of ages and writing skills tend to find him worthy of inclusion in their stories. You skim some of the tales here and there, and learn that a common thread is that he's currently dating a supermodel named Ashley York. Many stories either seem to ignore her existence or get her out of the picture rather quickly. There are also other traditional fan sites that list something about him, including his age, 18, his zodiac sign Libra, his favorite food, grilled steak, and his mother's name, Sonia. It also seems that Flavio translates to golden-haired on the website, with a signed publicity photo of Flavio seems to confirm this. The photo has been added to your evidence. Okay. Oh yeah, that's their kid. Come on. So we got her, we got him. We need two more. We gotta get her job accurate. I don't know. She owned a TV show, but they didn't say what she did after the fact. And I'm assuming if this starts over, yep, we got the hit that they were telling us to get. The search periodicals, and then nice. Ashley York, a British model, appeared on the cover of Teen Blast wearing a fur shawl 3 months ago. This appearance doesn't lead to any useful information, but a more recent appearance in text only mentions that she's dating Flavio Soares. In it, a Teen Blast reporter asks how they met. I was in Rio for a carnival and he was on one of the parade floats. I have no idea who he was, but I liked what I saw and told my people to invite him to the party I was going to. I felt really stupid when I realized that we were going to his party. Well, his mother's party. She runs a media empire down there called... Ah, there we go. We got a name. That could very well be her thing. We just don't have a fourth person. So we got 1, 2, 3. We got 3 pictures with no confirmation. Oh, wait. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we got somebody wrong. Could she also be a news anchor? She could. They ain't helped me though. I don't think changing it. I think the media mogul could be a thing. But let's look more into her company as well. Transmisialopolo. Transmisialopolo is a massive media group owned by and run by a mysterious woman named Sonia Alves. Here we go. That is given the name though. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Love to see it. Alright, we got... That's crazy. We just guessed that it was her because I thought about it. Look at it. Like, you know, we knew that she was a secretary for both people. And so for him to be like, kind of like congratulating him on the job or be like, are they kind of like toasting to something perhaps? It kind of just given like he just owned, you know, got the job or whatnot. All right, and I don't have any. I need more photos as well. So that's kind of cool. I could say that I feel like I've done that. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. I wonder how they're gonna do that. You know, they're probably gonna do this next 4 and get to 20, and then maybe they'll change up the thing to only having 3, or maybe it'll be harder at the end. Let's finish reading this though. It seems like Sonia Alves is a common name in Brazil, so she has shortened her name to Nia to stand out in the public's eye. According to a history page that's focused on her company and a vague, searchable details, Nia received a significant inheritance in 1980 and invested in many different manufacturing businesses in her hometown in Brazil. At the same time, she had just begun to learn the ins and outs of running a television network. She continued to work in television until 88, when Brazil came its period of reform. She felt like this was the perfect opportunity to launch her own media company using her investment and her connections. Now her company owns television networks, magazines, newspapers, and advertising firms. After doing some translating, her page about Nia lists her as unmarried. It does not go into any other relationship history. Searching for Nia online, you learn that she stays out of the spotlight. She doesn't even appear at shareholder meetings. She sends a proxy. Okay. So we got Susan Ford. We just don't have another picture of Susan Ford. I'm like, what? I'm like looking at this. There's some clues to get from this page. I feel like that's a lot to filter in one little thing, one hint to get from it. Let's see, what's this, page 2, Piketty? Okay, this has a hint on it. Let's see. Final draft. So we got to look up Australia. There's something that we found when we were searching Roottree Brazil. It wasn't exactly Roottree Brazil, was it? Roottree everywhere, and then it's Australia. Roottree Aus. Roottree Aus is one of the companies created to manufacture and redistribute Roottree candy. I almost said company. It was developed as part of the Roottree Everywhere initiative in summer of 1979. According to a history website for the Roottree Aus, Charles Martin, who owned a company that manufactured licorice in Australia, was tapped to run the Roottree factory after he impressed the American leadership of Roottree Candy Company at the time. Roottree Aus did have some success, but certain regions. The manufacturing leg of the company shuttered in '92 after the death of Martin, and Roottree Aus now serves as an importer and distributor. Okay, let's search Charles Martin. Charles Martin was a candy manufacturer in Australia, born in 1923. He was a popular brand of licorice called Martin's Licorice Bullets. Most of history is unrelated to the Roottrees. However, in '79, he helped develop a Roottree Aus. He used his own wealth to build a new factory and distribute maple treats through the same methods he had been using for his previous candy venture. The website about Australian commerce mentioned that he had a very unusual business agreement with the main Roottree company in the U.S. Much like how the Clan's Trust distributed profits from the Roottree company evenly to the Roottree family, and the profits Roottree Aus would be split 50-50 between the American Roottree company and Martin and himself, for him to do what he wishes. This made Martin very, very wealthy, but also led to many cost-cutting measures meant to increase profits as much as possible, especially towards the end of Martin's life in the early 1990s. Roottree candy gained poor reputation in Australia, and sales suffered immensely. Charles' vast fortune was passed along to his daughter, Robin Martin, who sold both businesses at first opportunity. Ooh, Robin Martin was featured as one of the top 100 wealthiest people in the world, huh? Do we have anybody with a singular daughter? We do. And we know, so Ruby Spratt and all of that probably is something different. She owns a private island off the coast of Australia where she reportedly has her own exclusive retreat. She has no husband, and there was a widely circulated rumor somewhere that in the mid-70s she had a medical procedure to ensure that she would never have children. You find a joke on a site called Edgy Jokes that implies that she's quite promiscuous, as she has a punchline involving Robin's eggs. For what it's worth, Martin seems to lean into the rumors. In the 80s, she showed up at a charity function with three very attractive men, each wearing a shirt that simply said "Satisfied Partner" on it. Okay. There's so much stuff to look up here. Well, either way, Robin Martin is going to be in the periodicals for sure. If she's rich, she's going to be on Business Watch, probably. Yeah. Apparently, Robin Martin sold off her father's assets in '92, the year after he died, which combined her with her inheritance immediately catapulted her to an almost unimaginable level of wealth. The writer of Business Watch, who is also assigned to report on the news, seems to disapprove of this move immensely. While the article does touch on the announcement of who took over the licorice division, as well as what was to become of the Maple Candy Company, the entire text seems to be dripping with contempt that someone will be willing to dismantle and gut such a successful company to earn a quick buck. The article ends with such a dig at Robin's personal life and maybe a lack of traditional values, but who am I to judge? Maybe she sold it to ensure a better future for her own children. Oh wait, that's wild. right, let's look at her. This person, born in 1923. I don't think we searched Martin's licorice bullets. Huh. Oh, Charles is in here too. A business watch mostly focuses on American businesses, but the expansion of Roottree into Australia did create a bit of a blip in 1978. It mentions that Charles Martin met with leadership teams from Roottree in late 77. They came to an agreement and broke ground on a new factory in 98. The Roottree Candy Company's statement, said to come directly from the president, was brief and a bit awkward. Roottree is excited to begin a new adventure down under. We're extremely impressed with Charles Martin and feel like this expansion heralds a new era of Roottree that will last for years to come. Roottree is founded on family, and Charles' family has also impressed us, especially his daughter Robin. We know she'll continue to steer the ship, just as Elias Roottree's family continues to do here. Okay, so he was fucking on her daughter? I mean, his daughter? Was it Martin? What would you call her? She owns a private island. She has a retreat. So she owns a retreat. What would she be? Let me see. Oh, she could be not a housewife. She's not married, but you know what I mean. She could just be wealthy. Like, what do you just call somebody that's just like wealthy like that? I don't know. We're gonna try something like that. Let's go back to the dad. Hmm. Let's see where it would. Hold on. Let's look here real quick. 1111111. Holy shiz. We got so much right though. That's the crazy part. Was it Roottree around the world? Something like that. Roottree everywhere. China Roottree is one of the companies created to manufacture and redistribute Roottree candy. It was developed in part of Roottree Candy Company Initiative, Roottree Everywhere Initiative in '79. During the late '70s, China began to go through a period of economic reform. This led to new opportunities for American companies, and the Roottree Candy Company decided to pounce. Lang Hobo, who is said to personally win over the Roottree family, was the owner of multiple textile factories and did not wish to import the ingredients and built a special factory to manufacture the candy in China. So instead, they made a deal to import bulk and packaged Roottree candy and label it not only for China but for additional markets. Hongbo, who was already in his mid-50s when the deal happens, only had daughters, and his brother, Lang Hongyu, took control upon his death in '86. After Hongyu died, It passed from the older child to the next generation. Zhang Yingyu. Okay. Well, we're looking up Lang Hongbo. You come across a website for Langte Textile Corporation. Company seems very accomplished, and their website has quotes from many different reporters and news articles listed on it in nearly every language. It also is mentioned that quite often on websites about Chinese business that, those mentions are company focused and not people focused, and don't offer any information useful to your investigation. The page contains a very rudimentary leadership timeline with names that prove the company has been in the Lang family for a long time. It kind of looks like a family tree. It goes back at least 250 years in some form or another. During the period in which where they began Roottrie deal, Lang Hongbo, I keep calling him Hobo, what the fuck? In China, the family name comes first, so Lang is his last name, was the CEO. He died before the internet was widespread, so there wasn't much about his other than his name on his website. His younger brother, Lang Hongbo, featured in the history section following him. This also seems to be the mention of the man. The current CEO is a woman simply listed as simply Jingyu. The site doesn't mention her last name, though she does appear in the family tree below Hongbo. Langtai is a few American logos on this page. One of the Roottree logo, another is Tran Quilts, and the other one is Piece of Asia. I mean, we're gonna search all of this. Seems Trans Quilts is a play on tranquil and quilts. The name is ironic considering they were the loudest quilts you ever seen. The main quilt featured on their website was a flaming unicorn soaring through space with peace symbols around it. Although they were listed on the website for Lang Tai, it doesn't seem to have much of a connection. Piece of Asia is the American arm of Lang Tai, located in Lang Tai translates to peaceful, so they chose their name in America to match. There are a lot of other companies listed here, too many to investigate, as a few of them seem to have any relevance. It seems Piece of Asia is nearly accomplished as Lang Tai. They offer fabrics and clothes at wholesale prices. You don't spot anything out of the ordinary. The business is saying to be owned by the husband and wife, Jerry and Linda Han. These Chinese names are listed too from using an online translator, and it seems that Jerry is Han Yongwei and Linda is Lang Yingao. Okay. Okay, interesting. Well, I'm gonna say I had a good time. I'm gonna leave it at that one. I'm gonna save a little bit. Looks like we got more than 20, but we saw 8 today, and I did take a little bit of hints and whatnot, but I feel like I've had a pretty good day. I feel like I'm getting a little thirsty, a little hungry, so definitely gonna make an effort to come through and stream a little bit more. Should probably, hopefully, not promise, but hopefully I'll be able to see you guys on Sunday. Birthday's coming up, so don't know what I'm gonna do. Probably just play a few games, kick it, maybe hang out in the community, or do some in real life stuff too. So I'm gonna try to make a day to where maybe I celebrate my birthday on stream. Funny enough, my stream anniversary is coming up as well, close to my birthday, or my affiliate anniversary more specifically. But that being said, I hope you guys had a really good time. I had a good time. We had quite a few things solved, and I think I'm feeling good about this story. I feel like I'm starting to understand more and understand what I'm looking at. I do think the adding everything to the periodicals, this is the most helpful thing in the world, for real. I definitely feel like it saves me a lot more time doing that. So I'm going to stick to that next time. But yeah, I appreciate you coming to hang out. It's been a lot. It's been amazing, and I'll see y'all next time.